CYC is a free channel, presents the Word of God for everyone. Your support will help us to continue the mission. Visit our website, cycnow.com. Even $1 will make a difference.
Bienvenido a la show de Marina. Mi amo es Marina y contigo es Marianne. Marianne, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Bien, gracias. Marianne, ¿tú voy a ir a Bolivia?
Sí, yo fui a Bolivia para 7 meses.
7 meses?
Sí.
7 months? Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. With me today, if you didn't get my fabulous Spanish, is the wonderful Marianne, and she's been in Bolivia for 7 months. So we're so excited to talk to her, to hear about her experiences, and basically lay out what's happening. So all we know right now is that she was in the land of Bolivia, which is in South America, which is a Spanish-speaking country. First, start off by telling me about the country.
Bolivia is one of the poorest countries in South America, and it's also one of like the top 3 exporters of cocaine.
Exporters of cocaine.
Or coca tea, or I mean the coca leaves.
The coca leaves. So, according to you, you decided, of all the countries in the world, you decided to go to one of the main exporters of cocaine.
Well, I went for the first reason, which is one of the poorest countries in South America.
Okay, but you weren't interested in the cocaine.
No.
Excellent. I'm so pleased to hear that. The Marina Show does not endorse any drugs or drug usage. So, you decided to go to one of the poorest countries. Where did you stay?
I stayed at the church in Bolivia. There's a Coptic cathedral over there.
There's a Coptic cathedral in Bolivia.
Yes.
How exciting.
It's amazing. It's very active. It's full of life.
Okay, and who does it mainly serve?
It serves the Bolivians. There's actually no Egyptians in the Bolivian church, except the priests are Egyptian. Sayyidina is Egyptian, but the actual congregation is comprised of mostly all Bolivians.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the Bolivians. You decide to go and stay. Are you working at that point?
I was working before I left. I had to quit my job to go.
Okay, and did you work in Bolivia?
I worked in Bolivia at a private school. I taught kindergartens there.
And how was that?
I mean, it was good. It was good to kind of see a different side of Bolivia because they were mostly the upper class of Bolivia. So it was a private school, so they were really, really affluent. So it's different contrast of what you were seeing at the church.
So what were the kids like at the church?
At the church, a lot of them are they come from broken homes, families that, fathers are usually not in the pictures. Moms, if they are, they're usually working, so they're, again, not in the picture. Kids are brought up by either family members or siblings or, the mom when she's around.
Okay. So very broken homes. And how else would you describe anything, if you could describe anything about the surrounding you were in? So you stayed in the church.
Yes.
And you had these kids. How would you describe the actual state of their homes?
I mean, some homes, if it rains, they'll get wet inside. It's like you've got the dogs sleep in the same room. Some of them, you've got the chickens in the same rooms. You've got the stove in the same room. You've got the bed in the same room.
All in just one room.
All in just literally like a square.
Wow.
And you've got, a family member of 5, 6, sometimes 10, or whatever, in just that one room.
Wow. And so the one room just has like a bed and is essentially made of like cardboard or what?
Whatever material they can find. So some cardboard, steel, whatever. Anything they could find, they just put together to kind of enclose it.
Wow. And is there a particular house visit that you remember going to and you're like, I can't believe someone lives in these conditions?
We went to visit a family, and this family was just made up of the parents. So the dad was in the picture, the mom was in the picture, and they had girls. So all their children were 5 girls.
5 girls.
5 girls.
Okay.
And so we went to visit, and they had all these chickens that were outside, and they had the dogs and everything, and then they were actually one of the families that got one of the new apartments from the churches. So
oh, that's so
thank
nice.
God, because I mean, we went in and the smell, like we went to take pictures. We went inside the actual, like we usually when you go visit you sit outside, but we went inside to take pictures and to kind of see, and the smell was just not. It was hard for us, like me and my friend. We went in to kind of take the picture, and it was hard. And I think it's so crammed. You've got everybody in there. You've got the stove. You've got the chicken. You've got, you know what I mean, everything. And there's just no ventilation. There's nothing.
So there's about 7 people
And,
plus all the animals living in one, just a room.
Exactly.
That's probably made of like cardboard, wood,
whatever.
And if it probably rained on this house, it would get wet.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, they would study outside. They try to get their homework because there's not light like literally inside, and the walls are just not very clean and things like that. But I mean, they were happy. They were so happy, that family, and they were just one unit. You see the love that they had for each other. You know, that they would help each other. So it was so great to see. It didn't matter where they were living. It didn't affect them.
So you recall so clearly that sort of stench, I would call it like the stench of poverty, right? Of so many people being forced to live under one roof. But how would you describe poverty in Bolivia from your experience of it? Because in North America, it's just like, oh, poverty, like, thank God we don't have that and we'd never know how to deal with it and it's such a terrible thing. But what was your experience of it on a spiritual or perspective level?
I fell in love with poverty.
You fell in love with poverty.
I realized we are so weighed down by our stuff, whatever that is. And I realized just poverty brings out who you are, that beautiful person that God meant you to be. You know, the person who's compassionate, who's loving, who's caring. Poverty brings that out. For some reason, we sort of like bury that with all the stuff, the cosas that we have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We just sort of just bury it here. And so poverty for me became a blessing. You just saw this different side of humanity. Because I mean, I would go to school and I would work and I didn't see that. So they were all Bolivians. So the school, but the only difference was the church, like the church area that I was working, it was poverty. Whereas the school area, there wasn't, it was very affluent. So I realized poverty is a blessing sometimes.
No, I see that. That's actually amazing. And I like that you said that person is often stripped of everything that you have. See, here in North America or wherever you might be watching this segment you're just sort of layered with all of these things, all of these concerns, all of these worries, all of these riches that you want, that you yearn for. And you cover yourself in that and you hide your personality behind it. Once you're stripped of that, you just become a human being, which is a really beautiful concept, Marianne. How would you describe the services inside the church? You said you fell in love with the church environment.
So the church literally is carried by this group of young servants. And I mean, these servants are amazing. These servants, all of them go to school, and some of them also work, and then they also serve. So, I mean, they've got such a huge load. But they carry the service with grace. They carry it with maturity that beyond their years. And so the kind of services that you have, you've got kids program, you've got youth program, you've got girls program, you've got boys program, you've got the programs for the senoras, like the ladies over there, and then you've got the spiritual program. So there's a mass for like at night, which is packed. You'd never realize it starts at 7 and it's full. You know, the church with it sometimes. And then you've also have you've got the Vespers for Saturday. You've got the servant prep program. So it's full. It's full of life. It's full of energy. It's great to be in the midst of it.
No, that sounds honestly amazing. And it's funny that you said these servants have so many loads on them, because I myself have also been to Bolivia, and I remember that these very servants weren't just like school and work. They were working to support their own livelihood. They were working to support their younger siblings. Like some of them would have 4 or 5 younger siblings at home, no parents, and they would still find the time to serve God within the church. And I think that's a huge disparity between here and in Bolivia, because here we're like,
The little thing, we're busy.
It's Sunday school for an hour, it's Friday school for an hour, it's youth group, and I don't have time. Like, I'm so busy. I'm so sorry, but I'm so busy. We're so quick to make these excuses. And my favorite thing about the church in Bolivia was that, these servants that you talk about, they're 21, 22, and I love the way that you phrased it, Marianne. They carry the church. They carry the church on their shoulders. And that's something that we are called to do. And again, it relates back to this whole idea of poverty. Like, when you're stripped of everything that you have, I think the only thing that you want is God, right?
You just long. I mean, you see it over and over when you talk with them and they tell them, the church saved me. The church, I was lost, I was gone, and the church brought me home.
Yeah.
And you see it in so many instances, especially with the ones who've been in the church longer. They see that, and now they appreciate that. And that's why you have such an effective service, because they've seen the other side. They've seen what the world offers, and they know it's no good. They've been down that road.
Yeah.
So now they can bring that to the youth who are just coming into the church or just growing up, and they're so effective with it because they've seen the other side.
That's
so
honestly amazing.
Experience.
That's honestly amazing. And when I was there, and they were, how we always sing the song in Arabic, Kinisti, Kinisti, or my church, my church. I remember having goosebumps watching one of the servants sing this song, because it's like, my church, it's my love, it's my home, it's my life. And in Spanish, I don't know if we can recite the words.
Mi iglesia copta.
Yeah.
Iglesia de Dios.
Yeah. So it's like, my church is like, it's everything. It's mi amor, it's like mi vida, it's everything for these people. And they mean it so genuinely in everything that they say. Like, the church is my home, it's my love, and it's my life. And basically the servant had tears in his eyes when he was explaining to me what the church meant to him. And I call us to that same understanding. Like, is the church your home? Is it your life? Is it everything for you? Is it your love? And when it becomes all of those things, the only thing that you can be called to do is serve. And sometimes we conceptualize of poverty as something that's like suffering. And I read in your notes before the show, you had a quote at the bottom that said, Jesus never came to say that there was going to be no suffering. He came to fill that suffering with his presence. And sometimes when you're sort of carved out like that, when you don't have all of those superficial things filling in on the inside, the only thing that can fill that very empty shell of poverty is God. And that's why I think you found so much joy. Yes. Marianne, thank you so much for joining me this time on the Marina Show. I really enjoyed your presence, and I learned so much about God's presence. Thank you. We'll see you next time on the Marina Show.